Hi, it's Michelle and I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, and today I'm going to share with you how you can truly satisfy your hunger, and I'm going to give you a few tips on how to create a meal that's really going to satisfy your hunger. So let's get started. So like I was saying, this video is really about creating a meal that truly satisfies your hunger. I know when we tend to be emotional eaters, or we kind of, overeat something, or we fall into binge cycles, that it may not always be an emotional reason, but it can be. So in this video, it's not necessarily about the emotions, but it's really about looking at the quality of the food, the nutrition, so then if we have all of these things set up, then we can also kind of discern if we're emotionally eating. So I'm going to start off with, you're truly hungry, and I have a resource if you don't know, if you do tend to feel like you're an emotional eater, to figure out if you're really hungry or you're thirsty, or you are emotionally, you have a phantom hunger, you're emotional. But let's say you're really hungry, you feel into your stomach, you can feel it's grumbling, it needs food. And so the first thing you want to think about, I would say, usually when we're hungry, it sort of comes to us what kind of food we want. Maybe we feel like something spicy or something savory, or something that's really has certain spices, or it's satisfying. So you want to feel into that, what kind of food you would really enjoy. And so once you have an idea of the type of food you'd like to have for that meal, I would say that's sort of going to fulfill you emotionally. You already have a sense coming from your body of the type of food you want to eat. And maybe you're like me and I kind of have similar meals every day because I just really enjoy that. But if there's a day I'm not into a certain food, then something else comes to mind and I try that out. Or I'm inspired by looking through recipes or different on Instagram or something like that inspires me, like I'd really like to eat that kind of meal. So the second thing I'm going to say is that when you're creating your meal, you want to use whole foods as much as possible. And the reason is that physically, our stomach needs to feel satisfied physically. So I talked about emotionally, we want to feel satisfied emotionally by choosing the right tastes and types of foods we want. But we're also want to feel satisfied physically. So our stomach needs to feel physically full to send a signal to our brain that we've satisfied that hunger. So it's physical. And the best way to do that is when you have a lot of plant-based foods, and I mean a lot of greens and vegetables, and making half your meal at least lots of greens and vegetables, you're going to fill it up with a lot of fiber. Animal-based products have zero fiber, so they're not going to fill that space as much. And even though I don't prescribe to counting calories, when you eat more dense foods like animal products, or even grains or nuts and seeds, you're getting a lot of calories in a smaller amount of space. So you would have to eat a lot more to fill up your stomach, and it also is not really great for digestion. So eating half your plate of veggies, you're going to get a lot of fiber into the stomach. And let's say you were to let's say your stomach needs 500 calories and you had a tablespoon of oil. Let's say olive oil, let's say it's 100 calories. Let's say you had 5 tablespoons of oil, you'd have 500 calories. So you'd be at your energy quotient, caloric intake, but you would be nowhere near filling up your stomach. And so you could see that if you're not choosing foods that are full of fiber and that are more nutrient dense, that you're not going to get that physical satiating feeling. And I just mentioned the third tip, which is nutrient density. So even let's say you fill up the space of your stomach with lots of food, and usually pastries and kind of cakes and things like that are not as nutrient dense, may contain some fiber. Let's say, I remember an incident of me eating a lot of cupcakes. So you might physically fill up your stomach, but you still want to eat. Your body is still craving food because those foods, they are not nutrient dense. So your body is looking for a certain amount of nutrition. And if it's not getting it from the foods, and this is with fast foods usually, and for any kind of processed foods, they're not as nutrient dense as whole foods, like whole fruits and vegetables. And so your body, because we are part of nature, is going to naturally be craving more nutrients, because, you know, the way we're designed, you can think in the stomach, if we eat, you know, more plant-based, that we get a certain amount of nutrition in that space. And if we're not getting it by putting in processed foods, then our body is going to keep telling us we need to eat. And also with a lot of processed foods, they contain additives and preservatives and things that are called excitotoxins that actually create an addictive property in the brain. There are molecules in them that, you know, bind to certain receptors in our brain and create sort of an addictive cycle. So they kind of excite us and we get this kind of high from it. And food in general, of course, makes us feel good, but this is another level of it kind of creating more of this feel good, this heightened sense, and excitotoxins maybe exciting us and creating more of an addictive pattern. So those are the 3 tips to creating a meal that's really going to satisfy your hunger. On an emotional level, you're choosing the right flavors and spices and qualities and the type of food. Maybe it's a soup or a warm ball or a salad. Like, you have to ask yourself inside, and this becomes sort of the intuitive part. But as you're creating the food, you want to make sure you're strategic as well, knowing that lots of vegetables and fiber, they're going to fill up that space and give you the physical filling of that. And nutrient wise, you're looking for nutrient density, which are going to be in the whole foods. But let's say you do physically fill up that space with other foods, more processed foods, your body's still going to crave more nutrition. So you're going to still feel hungry even if you're super full with that food, because your body's searching for nutrition. So I hope these tips have helped you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And please be sure to like this video if it's helped you, and please subscribe. And I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.